Hi, my name is Alexa Guerrero. I will be presenting my capstone 2, and it is an internship experience that I explored through creative self-inquiry, ancestral connection, and active re-indigenization. And I titled my process La Manik de Quetzalcoatl. I will speak briefly on my two sites as I was double siting in my internship. My first site is located in Las Cruces, New Mexico, and I have been here since my practicum. It is a behavioral health agency, and here I learned about serving populations I was really interested in serving from the get-go, such as those experiencing grief and pregnancy, infant loss, amongst others. This is because I also identified with those populations. Reflecting on my beginning and where I am now, I have grown in confidence and continue to do so. The clients here I saw age from 13 years to 75 years old, and other presenting problems besides the ones I mentioned were anxiety, ADHD, PTSD, and CPTSD. My second site was named Clarity Counseling, Consultation, and Wellness. My second site is located in El Paso, Texas, and it is a private practice that I embarked at the start of my internship. I felt really myself blossom here and felt truly supported in my vision and mission that embarked in my capstone, as this clinic also focuses on decolonizing counseling. Here, I got to conduct a shamanic group that served women rediscovering themselves, which did really well, and there's actually a high demand for indigenous traditional work with clients. And this is where I felt my personal and professional identities collaborate and become one. I also got to learn, treat clients with new presenting problems and diagnoses, contributing to my growth as a clinical professional. Here, the ages of my clients that I saw were from 8 years to 72 years old, and other presenting problems that differed from my first site are substance recovery and addiction. Here, I decided to present the cosmos as it came to re-indigenizing my practice and myself. The capstone was to explore and nurture my lineage and how this affects my practice. This was my question. This self-inquiry was altruistic at its base, and I felt truly transformational in process. Here was my process. There was a lot of intuitive nurturance, clairvoyance awareness, shamanic principles, and responsibility were also ethically held. I journaled, tarot oracle card pulling, Mesoamerican oracle to connect a little bit more specifically with ancestors, had bath rituals nightly, and there was cord cutting every so often. And it also was a ritual that I explored with clients who were open to receiving this. In practice, there was transition, so there was a lot of space and cleansing before and after, and also, like I mentioned previously, in work with clients. So now we'll go specifically into my rituales ancestrales. Here, these ritual pieces were my capstone art, and they were created to further connect with my ancestors and reclaim my indigenous half in being Mexican Chicana. These serve to dive deeper into the mission I had embarked with my capstone. And the deities that I drew a lot of inspiration from were Tezcatlipoca, the Quetzalcoatl, and Huitzilopochtli. And these ritual pieces were really aided in presence with myself and with clients, reflection, clearing, and empowerment. My mission for my capstone and with my artwork is that my artwork was really the synthesis of active transformation and being a healer therapist. In my culture, you are chosen and fated when you embark the path de curar, to heal. It's not something to just you can study for. You have to be truly gifted and chosen to embark on this path. And the capstone process was one of advocacy, representation, and reclaiming inherent wisdom and intuitive magic, especially in such a westernized field. Really the mission to decolonize, or should I say re-indigenize, my practice. My vision for this capstone process was to nurture myself and become authentic in spirit, body, and mind. Self-care became crucial, if not critical, due to my empathic and clairvoyant nature in my internship, more so than ever because of the energetic transference process and alchemization that would take place in session. So being aware and part of this fourth dimensional occurrence, my learning to see myself and envision my becoming a curandera art therapist. The first deity that I want to explore is Huitzilopochtli, and he was the deity that I was inspired to embody self-care. Huitzilopochtli means blue hummingbird of the south, and he was known as the god of the sun, but also war and sacrifice. But hummingbirds are also seen as joy and messengers of good intention. And in my culture also, they're seen as fallen soldiers, the spirits of fallen soldiers visiting, as they are very colorful and have that metallic sheen. So they were seen as like armor, presenting the armor that those soldiers are wearing in heaven. So I think Huitzilopochtli embodies the wounded healer archetype. Huitzilopochtli, as fierce a god as he was, his birth was traumatic as he was shunned for his conception and just being himself. And as a person of color and indigenous to this land, I saw a lot of parallels with this deity, which is why I explored with this deity in my capstone. Also, my name, Alexa, protector of the people, and my last name, Guerrero, there was a lot of identification in this strength and warrior type of energy, which Huitzilopochtli in practice. I also had grounding and clearing ritual oils that would aid in this with the fan, and so this was a lot of cleansing. So there's a ritual oil here that I have, Shimali, meaning shield, mindful awareness, self-care practices, preparing my body and space. So I would add these to my temples and my heart space and wrists. This allowed me seconds to minutes of energetic reset in between sessions or after. I also use Palo Santo, mist, copal essence, which is where I utilize the fan more. And this was for protection, intuitive, and authentic communication for not only myself, but for my clients. And this is where the fan really shone. So I would do baths almost every night, and I would do copal baths and water baths, or sometimes both of them. And I used my fan to spread the smoke of the copal essence into my auric field, and I would just target spots where I felt like I was really holding on to energy. And the baths I would bless, and I would make sure that they would purify. I use all the elements of nature. I would use fire, water, earth, like using salt and rose petals, the air from the copal essence smoking right there. So it was just really magical and rejuvenating and replenishing when I would do these baths. And I did them nightly because I really noticed a difference when I did not do them. Now the next deity. The wands tip is made up of obsidian, and this was inspired by Tezcatlipoca. The wand was a tool I created for boundary awareness between my personal and professional emotions and internship experience as a whole. It was the most difficult of the tools to create because this tool seemed to command security and authority. And when you're kind of doing shadow work, that's a little difficult. So Tezcatlipoca means smoking mirror, and it used this process to aid in my shadow work. So obsidian is a fragile, piercing, and sharp stone that's usually made, it's a volcanic glass, and it's forged under immense pressure and heat. So I think about myself and also my clients in session with obsidian and how it reflects truths and fears. My internship experience, I reflected on my trials and my pain to alchemize and heal alongside my clients so I could hold space for us all. And something that Tezcatlipoca made me aware of is that I'm simply a channel or guide in the dark shadow and night of the client. So healing is about consent and invitation. And clients coming into session is something that they're ready to receive and embark, and that this is a sacred decision that I'm holding and a process that must be respected. Tezcatlipoca in practice is where he's also known as deity of sorcery and magic. So here's where I was exploring this, nourishing this quality and sharpening my intuition and truth, just like how sharp obsidian is. But it also made me reflect on the shamanic responsibility and the weight of this work. Also, in the cutting of threads, I have that obsidian blade because sometimes I would have to cut threads or energetic attachments that me or clients would put onto me, and I would have to cut them to not bring that energy home. And that was also some shamanic responsibility that Tezcatlipoca made me aware of. Tezcatlipoca, again, reflection and shadow. And the one was used more for reflection, conscious and subconscious shadow work. My capstone experience provided a blossoming vulnerability out of a death. And I would feel sacrifices, painful truths, and traumas that I was confronting, and I really had to find the stars in my dark. Tezcatlipoca is a deity that reflects pain with purpose, and when I attended to my reflections, my clients seemed to benefit as well. My intuition sharpened and reflected just like obsidian. And out of the shadows and coming into the light, just like from a cave, Tezcatlipoca's wand possesses a tangible and psychic weight, and it even makes a testament to the obsidian-like experience I have undergone at Southwestern and Capstone. I felt like my journey at Southwestern and Capstone really mirrored each other. Now, last but not least, my third artifact is Quetzalcoatl mask. So I feel so much connection with Quetzalcoatl spiritually that I wanted to represent what is inside outside of me, to represent my body, its capabilities, and even boundaries when it comes to this work. This ritual embodiment of authenticity allowed me to witness the four-dimensional alchemy that occurs in session and how the mask empowers belief in myself. Here, the mask also explored duality. The mask explored the duality of wearing spirit on the outside of me versus, being inherently believe in the inside. Also, I was able to embrace authenticity and have my intuitive process validated. But truly, cultural humility and responsibility was explored with the mask by not imposing my beliefs, but informed by them. The mask on the outside allowed me to embody this as clients lay their souls and emotions, mind, body bare. They are vulnerable. And in wearing my spirit outside of me, there's a vulnerability that I felt in this too, no matter how different our beliefs could be. The dual experience of healing myself and being a witness to the healing process of others and being an active agent of this alchemization, being aware of this duality reminded me of my personal and professional identities and how inextricably linked they are and how cultural reflexivity took place. Also in my research, I did research after doing my pieces because I really was trying to hone in the intuitive part. And I was really validated in the research that my ancestors created masks to really feel into and transmute the powers and strengths and abilities of the deities in their rituals. And so this was actually a pretty profound discovery for me, and it felt me really connected to my ancestors and feeling this transformative quality that I was really embodying and possessing. So I really was a witness to myself here. And I also wanted to include my El Duende pieces because I felt like my capstone and my El Duende really complemented each other. Everything was just connected for me. And I really wanted to share the insight that the Quetzalcoatl mask, how empowered I felt. So being myself is a protest. Being myself is a symbol of resistance because it always has been. Healing is resisting. Healing is breaking cycles. Healing is active awareness. And my ancestors have done it before, and they are calling loud again. Self-care here was really to embody a radical form of it, and especially now in the climate that we're in, and the healer that I'm going to be in this future. I wanted to also touch on how I felt my capstone and my journey at Southwestern mirrored each other, and so I reflected on the deities and perhaps timed them in where my journey at Southwestern and where I find myself now today in my transformation encapsulated in my time at Southwestern. And I cannot deny that there's a lot of fierceness. And here I show myself as a shamanic warrior, a curandera, and healer, empowered, and how I have come out. And I am now really, truly La Manik de Quetzalcoatl. I thank you so much for listening to my presentation. And I'm very grateful for this process and exploration into myself. And here's are my sources. Thank you again so much.